So you're thinking about an investment property in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Let's talk about some of the things you want to consider before you do. First of all, if you're not paying cash, what kind of financing are you going to do? There's the standard investment property loan where you provide all your income and asset documentation and be fully underwritten, go through the normal loan underwriting process. You also have one called the DSCR loan, where it's not about you as much as it is about the cash flow of the property. And some of you may or may not know about that option, but I have some good lenders I can connect you with on either one of those. So that's one of the considerations. The other, people call me from out of state saying that they want to get something that'll give them 10% cash on cash return. I know of only one area where that may occur, and that's not really the norm. Used to, I told everybody 7.5 to 8. It's less than that now because property taxes have soared here because of values, especially since the pandemic. And insurance rates have soared and continue to do so. So those are factors you need to consider as well. You also need to reach out to an insurance agent and make sure that you can get insurance for your investment property. A lot of insurers have backed out of the market here in Texas. This is 2024. That could change if we have less weather incidents this year, but with inflation and everything where it is, and because of the snowpocalypse that we had in 2021, they're still refilling their capital reserves. So just keep that in mind. I also have a good insurance person to refer you to there. So let's talk about some other considerations. You may not know, but some neighborhoods are going in and putting in restrictions. Lots of HOAs already have done this in specific neighborhoods I'm aware of, where sometimes you have to buy a home and live in it for a year before you make it a rental property. That's a condition that you need to make sure of prior to making an offer. Have your agent reach out to the listing agent and ask if the seller's aware of any such restrictions. The other thing you want to know, if you're looking at high-rise condos, specifically in Dallas, the uptown Oak Lawn area, downtown, many of those, the high-rise and mid-rises, they will have a requirement where you have to pay 2 or more additional months of HOA in addition to the HOA fees you're already paying whenever you put a new renter in, and sometimes even when you renew your lease. Keep that in mind as well. And if you're looking at single family properties, I used to say outside Dallas, but Dallas now does have some of this as well. There's what's called a property improvement district, which is an additional tax typically on new construction. However, Dallas has these, so it's a forever tax in Dallas. And the uptown, the Lake Highlands area, and Oak Lawn area, they have some PID taxes there. Typically, it's reserved, at least in the Collin and Denton County area, for new construction. It's typically for a period of 30 years, and it is a specific amount based on the lot. Then also, in Dallas County, typically you're not going to find what's called a MUD tax, a municipal utility district. That is a bond. That is a tax that never goes away. And that can be as much as 1% of the value of the property you're looking at, especially along the 380 corridor. If you're buying along the north side, 80%, probably more like 90% will have a MUD tax or a PID. The south side, a little less so. Parts of Little Elm on the south side, there are no MUD or PIDs in some neighborhoods. So that's something you want to look at. Some other things you want to consider: are you going to hire a professional property manager? The pro is they can take care of the property, handle repairs, take care of evictions. If a tenant's not paying, then there's a legal process in Texas. There's a 3-day notice required. You have to get a constable involved. You can throw them out after that 3 days. Well, the constable does that. instead of you having to deal with all that. And speaking of repairs, say that you decide that you don't want to do repairs or that you do want to manage the property on your own. Maybe what you do is you get a service contract. Some will call them home warranties. American Home Shield is a big name people know. Someone like that. Not advising to get that. It's just a name people know. The other thing that you want to think about too, in Texas, you can file a lien or a judgment against not a lien, a judgment against someone for non-payment of rent, but you cannot garnish their wages in Texas. But that lien, it's only as good as the paper is written on. If the person moves out of state, don't know what will happen. If they go to buy a house, they have to pay that judgment off prior to purchasing a house. It may keep them from renting from someone who's using a property management company. If it's on MLS and they see rent on their credit report, they have to pay that off. And the other thing you want to consider is the Texas Property Code makes specific requirements of property owners, such as double deadbolts on all the doors that enter the property. One that cannot be accessed from the outside. That's for the protection of the renter. That can also keep you as a landlord from getting in, but it's a requirement. Different municipalities may require different number of working smoke detectors or carbon monoxide detectors. You want to check into that. Another factor is many cities require an annual inspection. You also have to register the property as an investment property with the city or municipality. Recently had someone do one. I'm not going to say the city because they know I'm talking about them. But up in the 380 corridor, where CoServe had to show that the house is registered as an investment property prior to turning electricity on for the tenants. So that's something you need to check out. And many times with the inspection, I know in Mesquite specifically, they're very strict. City of Garland's pretty strict. Also, you as a landlord, you need to learn the Texas Property Code, how it addresses things such as health and emergency issues, so you know what you have to repair in a specific period of time, health and safety issues. You definitely need to study up on that. I'm not here to give you legal advice, but just know many tenants will contact the local code department. I actually had someone who moved into a property and there was all kinds of rodents in the ceiling. There were flies all over the house. They filed a complaint with the code department. I'm not going to say the city, but they were able to get out of the lease. So you need to make sure that you know all this. And they're also, as of 2022, or as of 2020, excuse me, there was what's a rental flood disclosure. You need to have the tenant fill that out, or if they seek the advice of a good real estate attorney, they can break that lease and no consequence to them. So make sure you're working with a great agent that understands that. Not all agents do property management. I do not. I do screen the tenants for clients when I put a property on the market for lease. It goes on MLS, multiple other places. I do the screening for criminal, credit, and eviction records. Make sure that they have 3 times a month of rent and income. And also another thing you want to consider as a landlord, whether or not you're going to accept certain breeds of animals, because your insurance company may not cover you. Sometimes an umbrella policy will help you just in case. Again, not legal advice. You want to talk to an attorney and a good insurance agent. But I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do help a lot of investors with rentals. And especially if you're new, you need to make sure you understand what your responsibilities are as a landlord to protect the tenant in the property as far as the safety issues go. All my contact information is at the end of this video. Feel free to reach out to me. See you on my next video.